Good morning, my maker friends. I'm really excited you're joining me today live at a maker's studio. My name is Kerri, and I'm taking over the page today because, y'all, we're going to be playing around with some of Amy's brand new Glacier Acrylic Resin. I admit I'm a little bit intimidated by resin. It's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, out of my comfort zone, but y'all, Amy gives us great products and great instructions so that we can do this. Don't be afraid, y'all. If I can do this, y'all can do this too. I'm going to be using the trio mold. That's the geodes today. It comes in a set of 3, and y'all, these are so pretty. You could do so much with all 3 of these. You can make pretty coasters. It would even be pretty to put these as ornaments on your Christmas tree. I think that would be absolutely beautiful. Don't forget to let us know, are y'all watching this live or are you catching us on the replay? I can't wait to show y'all what I have got planned for us today. So let's hop onto the workspace and let's get started. Okay, y'all, this is our workspace today. So we've got our parts A and part B of our Glacier Acrylic Resin. And y'all, can we just pause for a moment and take a minute to appreciate the beautiful packaging that Amy has made for this resin? I mean, it is so pretty. I'm also going to be using some of the pearl and the bright bronze mica powders. I've got my trio of geode coasters. I've got 2 of my little silicone cups. I've got a couple of tongue depressors. And if we have time, I do want to gild the edges of one of the resin geode molds that I've already done for y'all. I want y'all to see how pretty it is when the edges are gold leafed. I'm such a fan of the gold leaf. And so that's why I went ahead and did this one ahead of time. So I'm just going to set this one to the side and I'll unmold it for y'all in just a second. So I want to go ahead and use the round one. You're going to get 2 round ones and also a square one in your set. And I've actually gone ahead and mixed up my resin. Now, mixing up this resin is super easy. I've got 2 of my silicone cups and I pour half of, it's going to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So you're going to do 1 part of part B, 1 part of part A. They're going to be equal measurements. So for this one, I actually used 40 ml of each one. I measured it out into the cups and I poured part B into part A. When you mix up your resin, you want to mix it up super well. You want to mix it for at least 3 minutes. And the entire time you're mixing, you don't want to like whip it really fast. We want it to be a slow, continuous stir. So think like a mixing bowl. You also want to make sure that you scrape your edges as you're stirring. And you don't want to whip any air bubbles into it. Now, after I mix mine, I actually do like to let it set for just a minute or 2, just so that any bubbles that are in the mixture can come to the top. Let's straighten up our little mat here. I love working on this silicone mat because the resin is not going to stick to it. So the color that I'm going to be using, again, I'm going to be using a little bit of the pearl and a little bit of the midnight bronze. I want to pour about half and half into my measuring cups. And it's okay if it's not perfect. That's the beauty of this type of project. Every piece is going to be different. That looks pretty good. They're about equal. So I want to put a little bit of my pearl mica powder, and y'all, this pearl is so pretty. It almost has like a gold glittery look to it. I'm not sure if that will pick up on camera, but it is so pretty. So I want to use one of my tongue depressors, and I want to put just a little bit. I mean, like just a little smidgen. So I'll put that one in there. Then I'll put a little bit of my bronze into the other. And you can use any color for your geodes. You can use, I think Amy in another video I had seen said you can use up to 6% You don't want to use like a ton of color. I do want my colors to still be a little bit translucent. So I don't want them to be like super, super pigmented. I want to still be able to see through it. So I'm just going to stir these colors in together. Look at that bronze. Isn't that pretty? When you mix your color in, you want to be very, very careful that you mix it in all the way. If you've got any color that's not mixed up, that color, from what I have found, I'm not a resin expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I was working on a project, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute, and I did not mix up my white color very good. I must have had some little pieces that weren't mixed up, and that white color settled all the way to the bottom. It actually ended up having a pretty cool effect. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. But it wasn't the look that I was going for, and I'll pull that piece over and I'll let y'all see what I'm talking about. So as you're mixing, just make sure that when you look at your resin, you don't see any chunks or any pieces of color that aren't mixed up. It's very important that you mix it up. Now you're going to have roughly a 20-minute window before your resin starts hardening. So don't think you've got to be super quick, because you do have a little bit of working time there. Okay, I'm going to pull this one geode coaster that I did earlier over so you can see what I'm talking about. What happens when you don't mix your colors up. So it looks pretty good from this side, right? Well, look, this is what happens when you don't mix your color up very well. Kind of gives it like a galaxy look, which to be honest is kind of cool, but it really wasn't the look I was going for. But if you're going for that galaxy look, just know you can absolutely get that if you don't mix your colors up all the way. So I'm actually going to put my coaster onto just a little piece of cardboard, so once I get it filled, I can move it out of the way. Trust me on that. I didn't do that with my first one, and I was kind of stuck. I had to leave it here. So it's going to take roughly 8 hours for our coaster to dry before we can pop it out of our mold. That's why I went ahead and did this one ahead of time, because I do want y'all to see how pretty it is when you gild the edges of your coasters. So I want to start with my bronze first. It's so pretty. And I just want to sort of take it and put just a little bit of skinny little striations. When I think about geodes, I think about having, you know, just a little bit of veining in it. Amy's got some great videos on here as well to show you how you can use. This is going to be so pretty when I finish going all the way around it. I'll also gild a little bit on the inside of our coaster here. I think these are going to make a great Christmas present. It would also be really pretty to string a piece of pretty gold string and hang this on your Christmas tree. I think that would be a great idea. What do you see yourself doing with these geode mold coaster sets? I would love to know what your thoughts are. What have you made with the acrylic resin so far? I've got so many fun things. I've got the new alphabet mold that I'm super excited to play around with. And y'all, let's take another look at my goof up here. I know this was a goof up, but I think it really turned out pretty. So happy accidents, right? What color geodes would you make for your friends? Amy's got some really pretty mica powders, as well as some beautiful colors that you can make anything under the rainbow. I love all of these pretty mica powders. Okay, so I think this is actually set up enough here. So I'm just going to finish pouring in my two colors. And we're going to let this set for roughly 8 hours before we unmold it. Wasn't this a fun project? You can even pour your colors back in together if you wanted to give it another color variation. Let's do that. I just love playing around and mixing up things. Let's see what color we have. Ooh, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Okay, so let's finish pouring this over our mold. Oh, y'all, this is going to be really nice. I'll be sure to give Marty and Amy a picture of our finished product once it dries, because it is going to take 8 hours for this to fully cure. It's going to be slightly different from this one when I unmold it, because I did just mix those two colors together. But y'all, look how pretty that is. What do you see yourself making with the geode mold coaster set? I would love to know the colors you're thinking. I think this is an absolutely fantastic gift idea, don't you? Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, y'all. I've had an absolute blast. I hope y'all did too. Are you going to venture out of your comfort zone now and try this new Glacier Acrylic Resin? Y'all, Amy's got some fantastic molds on the website. Definitely hop on over there and check that out. I've got to run for now, but until next time, happy DIYing, y'all.